Okay, today's video, I'm going to tell you actually how to sell at least 6 figures worth of gift cards at your business or gift vouchers if you're purely online with one, and I do mean one single Facebook ad. You're going to take what if you don't know what a house list is, a list of customers you already have, use that list with their emails, with their phone numbers. There's a few other ways to do it, but those are the basics. Take that list, put it into Facebook, and have money come out the other side. 6 figures worth for one campaign that you could also generate in about a week's time. So you want to do a couple $100,000 worth of sales in a week, which you normally only get in a month or two. This is the strategy for you to do. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this Facebook ad, executing it start to finish, some tips, some tricks, and then comparing that with what I gave you with actual markets where I've used this before, the type of ads that we're using there before, and an actual template of an ad that you can use to do this for yourself, so it's pretty much as close to as done for you as possible. Okay? So with all that said, I'm going to go in through a little bit of a background about gift cards or i.e. gift vouchers if you're doing online, some misnomers, and just clear the air a little bit about that whole medium of selling, which is using gift cards. Back in the day, people called them gift certificates. You don't hear about that anymore. I love taking stuff that used to work a long time ago that people's just they got. One thing that running our agency here that we see all the time is something that works. There's nothing wrong with it. They'll try something new as a business owner because they get distracted. People that make money, they don't get distracted. They test it, they improve it, and they try some new things eventually, but don't just keep diverting your attention somewhere. The real value from running advertising campaigns comes in once you've ran those campaigns for years, because you could feed the data into your advertising on Facebook or Google or whatnot and see the different age demographics that don't work and income demographics that don't work and so on and so forth, and just keep dialing it in and in and in and in. And then once you finally went through all that, you capitalize on it, and you spend the first, a lot of times, 3 to 6 months not making any money to get to the point where it will make money, and you get your money back over the next years. So respectively, when online came around, people stopped even worrying about gift certificates. It used to be when I was a kid, you'd go into your high-end restaurant or family restaurant, whatever, and they would be pitching it to you at the counter because they were such a key revenue source for the restaurant in general. And gift certificates obviously were used all everywhere else. The different businesses could be a clothing store, could be a golf course. And what replaced it was these, basically stupid gift voucher cards that you buy in the store, where you could, like one for Chili's, one for Starbucks, whatever. And I don't think it gives you, it's not the same getting that versus the gift certificates in terms of the feeling you get. I don't know how to explain it there, but it's easier to get one in general for somebody as a gift because it's always there. And then I think because of that, it started to work less in terms of asking people to buy a gift certificate at the counter, because it's underserved. If you find something that used to work back in the day, basically my point is, and they're not using it anymore, you bring it back, it will work better than ever. Because why? Anything and what you're doing marketing wise that's not overdone gets people's attention more, and therefore it usually works better. And then when you could use old data that's just not used, now you're getting guaranteed something that will be guaranteed effective, because stuff that usually worked 30 years ago will work now. And even more so when you digitize it and bring it into the digital form, which you don't have to do it the old way. The concepts is what is important. How people used to sell the gift certificates before, bring that into the fact that you can do digital delivery on these things. So you actually can mail it out to them. I've seen people do that, and that actually helps. The good, because you're getting something tangible, response, better response back, feedback from what you're doing there. But the fact that you don't have to also ask every person, you can, what did make selling the gift certificates how you sold so many, was you got to ask who came in, and it didn't cost you any more money to offer that at the time of you would go to checkout, pay your bill, and then the cashier would ask you. So basically, we know from that in the past that if we just ask our customers, there's a certain percentage that will buy, whether it's 1%, 2%, 3%, 5% if you're lucky. That why are we not doing this anymore? It's free money basically. And I think also part of that is people forgot how they actually worked, and that how much they are. The main reason why you do it is because it brings in new customers. Tons of guys. So gift cards, I'm skipping over this briefly here. Gift cards are awesome as they don't just actually push demand forward. So I think I don't have any actual hard data, but I think that people think when you sell a gift card though, because they forgot about how it was, or they haven't talked to people who used to do it back in the day, that it just gets somebody who was going to buy to, basically come in and buy anyway. And therefore, because of that, you can't do anything else besides offering the gift card at face value, which you're not going to get nearly as many sales as if you can incentivize and say, here's a gift card and we'll give you 10% off the purchase or the value of the gift card if you buy it right now. But what they actually do is they massively increase the top line revenue that you can get yearly for your business offering them, which is the one thing that, it brings in new people. Why? Because the person that you're giving it to, not always, but a good chunk of the time, they've never been there. And that person would have never you would have had no hope whatsoever for them to ever search for anything that you sell or come in at all. Now you have somebody, obviously this works if you have a great product or service. Now they sampled it. Now you got a customer that's going to come back, even if it's 2 or 3% of the time, is a lifelong customer. Respectively, that one gift card sale netted you $5,000 with a more lifetime revenue. So it's quite powerful when you think about it that way. But going back up here, tons of you guys want more customers with the PPC strategies and marketing in general, and like what I'm mentioning to you on this channel about doing PPC. But you need to actually start with increasing revenues from your own house list, the list of customers you have basically already, or clients first, and milk absolutely everything that you can out of that first, because it in general has a much greater ROI potential than marketing to new people. Obviously they already trust you, they know what you have. You have to even no matter how good you explain what you have, you still can't explain it well enough as per somebody who's actually tried it. Therefore your advertising will work 5 times better or 5 times higher ROI than marketing to someone new. So that's pretty close to what you have typically, 5 to 10 times more effective, higher ROI actually. So what you should do, what the real pros are going to do for my business, what I'm going to do, because I know this stuff so well, is when I have an actual system to maximize, first of all, the lifetime value, or how to get more out of each customer once I get it, or more out of each client that once I get it. And that doesn't happen just through making the service better, or product better, which obviously is one avenue. But we're going to do everything we can, because then we can actually spend more to get a customer. And there's a certain point in which you do such a good job at increasing or extending the amount of money you can make off a new customer when you get one, that almost all the PPC will work. So instead of trying to find this secret about the PPC that's going to get to work, have PPC work in your market and get enough sales to cover all your expenses and the ad cost. You could go from the pro angle and just trying to figure out how to do upsells, cross sells, get people to come back more, buy more once you do get a customer. And then when you come back and you've done all that work first, when you come back to try to make Facebook ads, Google ads, Bing ads work, it's basically like easy. It's on easy mode. You turn on the ads, they basically work right away. You instead of paying and being able to afford to pay $20 to acquire a customer through PPC, now I can afford to pay $100. And basically, as soon as I turn my ads on that weren't quite effective enough before, they work instantly. Anything else I do is just icing on the cake. So it's a whole different perspective that you could look at things in terms of trying to generate a funnel that brings in new customers using PPC ads for your business. And so, and generally, yes, it's the pro kind of angle going at trying to figure out how to get more value from each customer that comes in anyway. But in general, the reason why they do that is not so much to make more money from those actual sales. It's about making other new traffic sources that come in have the potential to work so much better and easier that there's a certain threshold that if you get the value per customer up so high, you can run tens of thousands of dollars worth of advertising to draw new traffic in, and then your business is really going to explode. And the difference between doing that and not doing that is simply adding 2 or 3 things to your in-house process and how you're actually handling new customers or clients and sell to those people, to have that, to take a business that's doing $500,000 a year to doing $10 million a year because they just figured out how to get 2 or 3 times more out of a customer, and that made all the difference, if that all makes sense. So it's the one thing, this gift card method could be the one thing that gets you over the threshold of making that extra 2 or 3 X times amount per customer when you get it. That makes all the other advertising now open up, where there's 10 times as much opportunity to drive a profitable customer in, because that 2 to 3x difference in value you got from each customer put you over the threshold enough to where 10 times more of the new traffic that you could potentially, it's available in your market that you could have bought before or in general, now works. Because it doesn't have to be obviously increase the profitability of your ads 2 times, that you can drive 2 times more traffic in. A lot of times, if you can increase the profitability of your customers by 2 times, because it's now more than likely getting more customers than anybody else could pay for them, now everything opens up in your market, because you're able to get more out of a customer than your competition. Therefore, you can afford to spend more per click than any of your competition. Now you can get all the customers. So, and there's a fine line there. And so you should find out how to get, past that kind of barrier, because it makes PPC, driving new customers in from PPC, so much easier. Selling gift cards or gift vouchers to somebody who you already dealt with is just one really good way to do that. You had generally upsells and cross sells to your sales process when you get a customer, to sell as much to them while they're initially purchasing, while they're hot. And then, every, 1 to 3 months, have a short-term discount to get people into your digital store, or to your brick and mortar store. Just like local grocery stores have circulars in the newspaper to drive traffic in, you get a system there down, and then you compare they click this gift card method I give you with just something like that, to where every month you've got an automated system that have banner ads that show up for just your customer base, which you could do through Google ads and Google Analytics and Facebook ads. That those 2 things, combined, got you in position where now you can afford all the customers that you can get from Google that search for what you have, not just a limited amount or not at all. So anyway, with all that basic prelude and overview of why this stuff works and why and what the real reward from doing this actually can be and is. I will get into the method here of how to do to set this up the way that I set it up to make a good amount of money basically every single time I do it. So with all that said, this is, like the title advertises, one Facebook ad that's going to make you, 200,000, 400,000, $1 million worth of sales just from one single ad. Why? Because that house list that you have has 10 times the potential to generate a sale than other PPC traffic has. And so the ROI is so high from that, basically anything you offer them can work. But because these gift cards are so much of a perfect offer, you will be absolutely shocked what this can do. It won't work for, I will admit, every business, but a whole lot of them. And I'll give you enough examples to see kind of what's going on, but it could be an online clothing brand. Like I said, it could be online or offline, that if you are in the right business, you try this out and it works, it will really work. I promise you that. It's not going to be just a little difference on your business. It'll take you from, a lot of times doing $1 million a year in sales to 1.5 or 3 million to 4.5, something like that, in terms of proportional increase of how it's going to affect your business fundamentally. But what you do anyway, getting into the strategy here, it works like this. You get a customer, obviously, through whatever means, and you have their email list or the phone number list. Technically, there's a way to find out who those people are that are buying. Without that, you can do by dropping a cookie on the user's browser if you're talking about online businesses. There's a way through, as I made a video already about this, web beacons, yeah, they're called web beacons. Sorry, I just drew a blank there for a second. Web beacons is what the official name is for it, but little access points that you can put in your physical store that if somebody walks past it, you can grab the user's mobile ID from their phone, which they don't have to do anything, and you can then have an ad that shows up for someone online just based upon them walking past that one physical device. Okay, by taking the mobile ID, you can upload that to Google, Facebook, and then now have an audience which you could target, which is now, you don't know they're a customer if they walk past it per se, right? But if you put it, in proximity of where they would go to buy, you can make a pretty strong conclusion. And now you got something, or a really good list, if you will, to market this gift card offer and make all these sales like I mentioned you could do on this video. But anyway, regardless of how and there's other ways to build a customer list where you have actual identifiable information to be able to have this ad show up for those people who are a customer so that you can do this offer well. If you have questions about that, you can leave me a comment in the comment section below after this video, but after you finish watching this video. But what you do, and this ad only kind of basically works certain times of the year. When, again, going back to like what I said before, if you could think back what people used to do before the internet, what sold, fly a digital bring that into the digital world, you pretty much have a way to make money that you don't have to reinvent the wheel on at all. These gift certificates that they used to sell or offer in restaurants and stuff, and they used to do heavily, where you would go to the register, like I said, and then they would offer it to you. They would not offer it like every time, but there's certain times of the year people buy gift certificates way more than any other time. Before Christmas time, before Valentine's Day, before Mother's Day, because those are the peak times. They normally would just have customers anyway. And instead of having good sales during those times, you can have freaking amazing sales during those times because you're going to offer them a gift certificate like they always used to. And even more so because instead of having to ask every person and only be able to ask them once, we can ask them everybody and not have a mistake because the cashier might not ask. And we can have the ad show up for somebody with the offer on it of the gift card at least 7 times, which is kind of the magic number in terms of number of times you want the ad to show up so that it's noticed but not so much that the click-through rate drops and you start to have diminishing returns. and actually in this case I'll have it show up upwards of 15 times because it's so darn has the potential to have, it's a house list, it converts better. Might be only 7 times. You basically you split test, and this goes for, by the way, running any ads on Facebook. You find what they call the frequency or number of times one person on average sees the ad. You test 3 versus 5 and 7 to 10, depending on, and if your ad's profitable, you can go further. If it's less profitable, you can go less. But there's a certain amount of times they have to see it to take it seriously. So 1 isn't always the best. It's just that they say frequency is more important than reach in advertising. Doesn't, not just with PPC, but with direct mail and everything. Why? Because when they see it the first time, they don't take it as seriously as they do the second. And the 7 is supposed to be about the power of the 7 in marketing is because is important because that's the peak time through what most times that people will take it the most serious. Just as a side note about PPC strategy and Facebook ads and stuff. So anyway, there's certain times that people are much more responsive to buy a gift card. That's the time you're going to run this ad. You're going to have an ad show up for people. It's going to be 2 weeks before Mother's Day or Valentine's Day or Christmas. It could be different times, obviously, for your market where you're normally having peak sales. You might do something different, but those are the main things every time that we're using where we use this. You're going to have a Facebook ad. Now on the ad itself, you're going to have a picture, the image, just going to use it. You could do different ad types, but basically it's a regular static image ad with newsfeed ad with the main image there, a picture of a gift certificate or a gift card, but one of those two basically, so that when you're scrolling down, it'll be like Mark's restaurant gift card, $25, because obviously right away as they're scrolling they don't see who an ad is from. They're just seeing, really what they're trying to do is say content, oh ad, if it's an ad I'm not going to read it, skip, just like you would go through a pile of mail that you got through the mail and go over the trash and then trash, keep trash. Just that's how people's mind work when they're trying to view content online and mentally not waste mental energy on ads. And they say they have a filter, ad or not ad. Ad, okay, I'm not even going to read what's on there. So you have a picture of this gift certificate, something that they would really like, a gift certificate. Oh, a gift certificate to my restaurant, my favorite restaurant. So it catches their attention, which makes fundamentally, if you want high click-through rates on any ad, especially Facebook, you got to capture the user's attention at a very high rate to get your click-through rate closer to 1 to 2% range that you need to do really well. Because higher the click-through rate, lower the cost per click, higher are the ROI. You have that picture, that gift card, and then your ad text, headline or description is going to be like 10% off this gift card this week and only, flash sale. And so 2 weeks before the holiday, Mother's Day, you're going to run for 7 to 10 days the ad campaign. So this ad shows up, and then it is going to say you could get this gift card for 10% off, but obviously it says this weekend only or this week only, and so people see it, and then if they're going to buy a gift certificate, obviously that's the time they would jump on it. Obviously that's normally a time where they would be open to make statistically or in general to buy a gift card. And now you've put them in a situation where you've built urgency, you've built demand, you created a situation where they're actually likely to buy now a gift card, since it's at the right time and you incentivized it. Like I said, you're not going to sell very many gift cards if you just say, hey, buy a gift card. If you actually say, because we've used this over and over again, so you could trust me on this completely, 10% off the gift card. Yes, I know you're going to have to give 10% off, and that hurts your margins, and you're saying, Corey, I can't offer discounts. Well, first of all, by the way, the redemption rate on this is going to be 90% anyway. So you're offering them 10% off on a gift card, as twisted as this is. I mean, that's just life. they're not going to redeem 10% of them, and so there is no discount, which is why this offer this system's so darn good. In some states, you're legally, I've seen in like California, you have to refund their money. It's whatever. Just as a side note about all this, if they don't redeem, as crazy as that is, because they know 10% of people don't redeem, and it's become such an issue. People like selling them because automatically they're 10% higher margins on them. But to get the highest uptake rate as possible, and just to get general to get it to work, you're offering them a discount on the face value of that gift certificate at the perfect time. You're saying language, in reference to Valentine's Day on the ad, so they know right away when they see the ad, once you've captured their attention with the picture of the gift card, that it's related to Valentine's Day, so I should keep reading, in which they also know by the time they're done reading it that this is good, but I can only get it this week. I better do it now, otherwise I'll forget. And then they act right then. Or they'll come back, but they'll know already that they want to buy it. When they get paid on Friday, they'll do it, whatever. And so, with that said, you do need take people to a custom landing page. Too many people think when you're running Facebook ads that you could send people to a regular product page that's already on your site or whatever. Or maybe a page that offers gift certificates on it, but it's not optimized. No. You're going to make a custom landing page. I use Unbounce because it's the best tool. And I'm going to have a landing page that shows the same picture of the gift card and then what the offer is again. So above the fold, as they call it, or before you scroll, they're going to see the exact offer that you gave them there. $25 gift card for only, $22.95, whatever it is, i.e. 10% off. Good until the end of the week. And the key with the landing page always, especially with the Facebook landing pages, is when they see an ad, when they get to the landing page, they want to see exactly what you offered them on the ad. Same visuals, not the exact same text, but close. Because they want to know that this page was made just for this ad, so they don't have to think, oh, maybe this is like the ad's not really going to offer me what I was there for. So the first thing you got to do for a high response rate and conversion rate from your landing page now is to make people think that right when they hit the page, there's no confusion whatsoever. Any teeny bit of confusion increases what they call the bounce rate, or number of people who leave before they really do anything, and what you're trying to avoid. So anyway, you have that offer, and then down below, you don't have to have that much more content. You technically could get away with just what I said and nothing else, and a link to where they can actually check out and buy the gift card. So you do need some sort of way to either request the gift card or actually buy it. I would recommend buy it. Okay, so a link to a product page which has e-commerce functionality so the landing page, and it should be like to buy the card, click here. You go to a product page that has a checkout button on it, which has the gift card. Then they can buy it that way. And of course, you're going to set up your tracking so you know how many people buy. And if you do on the landing page, sometimes you can have on there pictures of inside the spa or the golf course, stuff like that, to kind of revigorate their memory of what is, if they haven't been there for a while, to that place, what it's like, and that you're rekindling memories. It's almost like how your brain remembers smells, and emotions are tied to the smells, and you can get a person into a more excited mood if you have certain smells. It'll affect them emotionally in general than it would otherwise. The visuals, like pictures of inside their favorite restaurant or whatever, will get them emotionally invigorated, which leads to a higher response rate on your gift card offer, or in general. You'll set up tracking, so if they go through and check out on the gift card, you can obviously use that to feed data into your Facebook account, so you can see ultimately where next time you run this you can double down or not do so much of, because obviously even though the offer is going to convert very, very well, guaranteed, you still might want to, the ROI is not quite there. You can cut out certain parts, but more so because it works so good, you're going to want to see how to actually, what more you can spend. Maybe the bigger thing is, because it worked great for 7 days, maybe I should have gone 14 days, which the sweet spot's usually 7 to 10 days, as we found, in terms of get most of the sales that you could get without really cutting into the ROI. And whether you should basically double down on it to get a little bit more revenue. And of course, you can split test the image of the gift card. You can test your language here, and so forth. But the tracking that you have, you feed data in about your purchases to your Facebook account so you can actually track. The tracking will be deceptive. Your tracking inside your Facebook account won't say nearly the amount of sales that you're going to actually get, because if you're brick and mortar, a lot of people is just going to come in. They'll see your online order. You can fix some of that by having that same web beacon that I told you about. You can have where they purchase, which obviously very few of you guys will actually do this because it's not too easy. It's easy, but it just takes a lot of effort, and you got to get off your butt and do it, basically. So when somebody buys, that data can feed into your ad account on Facebook and show that they purchased. If they purchase offline, that's doable. If you need more information about that, just ask. And so the real value, you don't want you to be deceived that the ad doesn't work, even though you have people checking out there. Like I said, you can track people that way. A lot of times it'll say, even if we're tracking the online purchases, the purchases will literally only be what shows inside our Facebook account will be 10 or 15% of the total effect. Some people come into the brick and mortar themselves. Some people come back, or a lot of people come back and not buy right then. This is another thing, by the way, as a quick detour about this. Display advertising, especially remarketing ads, but any kind of Facebook or display advertising, meaning anything else besides search engine advertising, people think that if they have an ad on Facebook, that they should scroll down. They're like laughing, having a good time, looking at different things, and they see your ad, that you should be so interested in your product that they're going to click through your ad and buy right then. In a lot of times, situations, 80-90% of the time, they're not going to buy right then. It's not like a Google ad where they're already looking and in the mood and already have their credit card out ready to buy. You're lucky to even have a modicum of their attention when they were in that kind of mood where they weren't looking at all to click on any ad, no matter how good the ad is, no matter how good the offer is. So if all we're trying to do, because it's so difficult to get somebody who is screwing around, didn't care what, to do anything important, to go and actually look at a landing page. And so what we do expect mostly is that person to be like, darn, that's a good offer, I want to get that, and then go back to what they were doing, screwing around, and then through remarketing ads and having the ad show up a few more times during the 7 to 10-day period, that they'll eventually purchase. And the other reason why tracking doesn't work, this goes for any PPC tracking in general, even search engine advertising, is people will click on the ad, they'll go to your site, they want to buy, but they procrastinate. They say, oh, when I get paid, or I need to talk to my wife. They forget. And then a month and a half later, they remember, and they're like, okay, I'm going to buy today. And what do? They go directly to Google, and they type in what they think the name of what the product or service is or company is, and then they click on the organic search result for your name, then they buy, and then guess what? It looks like organic traffic is what works. And really, it was PPC ad that actually got the ball rolling with that person. So you have to factor all this in. If you look at only the conversion numbers inside your ad account to judge what the ROI of your ads are, it's probably not even think the ads work. It's very, very common that we'll have 3 times as many sales that are in some way attributed to the ads than what actually shows it is trackable. A lot of times also this tracking is based upon cookies. They don't have cookies on depending on what browser they're using. they switch devices before they ultimately convert, which you're supposed to have that tracked through Google. But I'm just saying in general, and Facebook, really, there's lots of things that can go wrong that actually where the data is not being tied together, even though it's supposed to, in theory, track the person for up to 30 days or whatever after they ad click. It's a pipe dream. Now there's enough data to optimize your ads with, because even though it only shows 30% of the total of sales you really get from an ad, it's a consistent 30% off. That's consistently 30%, to where you at least know where to, male versus female, that kind of thing. It just doesn't do a good job of telling you exactly what you're making. The good thing in the gift card situation is you're probably not doing much of any gift card sales already, so when you run this offer after this video, you can easily see how many more gift cards you sold. So you don't need the tracking inside your Facebook account to know how good this works. That's also part of the reason why I like using it for our clients, and our clients like it, because when I tell them conversion tracking notoriously doesn't track all your purchases. You can't tell what this does to your sales revenue on its own, and you should look at your overall sales revenue just and how it's jumped year over year before we turn this on and after we turn this on. In this case, they don't, I don't. Some people, when I tell them that, they're so stubborn, they don't want to do it. They want to see the number inside the account, say they made money. That's it. Or you can be the one who actually takes my advice here, and they look at how their overall sales go up after they run an ad, and if they raise their budget this much, did their overall sales go up this much? Because you'll be the only one of the very few in your market who know this, and then therefore you can justify the ad space, whereas your competition, who wants the number to show up in your account showing it works, they're not willing to do it anymore, and now you get most of the customers from that channel source or from that traffic source. But in this case, even if you're that person, quote unquote, that frustrates me so much, just track the gift card purchases. And if you sold 15,000 during last year Valentine's Day, but now you sell 100 after running this ad, even the most stubborn people can see that the ad worked, basically. So respectively, this same offer here, you could spin it for birthdays. So there's a way that you can have a gift card. The excuse for the gift card is you could give it for someone's birthday. You don't have to do this Mother's Day or Valentine's or Christmas offer, and something you could run all year to sell gift cards. I'll go over that in another video that I have coming up, but just another thing to kind of get your gears going. That often could be another second way and you could use a similar strategy here. Limited time only. Buy a gift card for your significant other or friend. We'll give you 10% off if you buy it this week, to build urgency. You always got to build urgency, and you have to have a reason for that person who is screwing around, who don't want to click on your ad. You'd be lucky to have click on your ad, to want to click on the ad and at least look at what they have so they can save it for later at a decent rate, enough to make the ads work and be profitable. So anyway, that all said, where this has worked before. So I told you I was going to give you some examples of where this had actually worked before, where I've used it, and therefore you kind of can see, how it, compares to your own business, to get under a little bit more understanding that this actually works for a business like yours, is why I do this. So anyway, now what I didn't talk about is the size of the customer list you have. Obviously, the more customers that not only just more customers you have at your business or clients, but the number of people which you have trackable information so that you can actually get the ad in front of them will dictate how much you're able to make with this method, obviously. So if you don't have the people, by the way, already, and you don't have a way to get their email address or their phone number, then you can go and try to capture their mobile ID while they're in the store. Or another way, most of the time, and if you don't have a way to get their email or phone number, which would be their cell phone number, but everybody uses mobile now anyway, but if you can't get it at the purchase or whatever, for whatever reason, then you can actually actively build a list for doing stuff just like this campaign, or even just for this campaign by itself, since it's our main go-to for selling stuff to increase lifetime value of a customer using a quote-unquote house list. You could have, so anyway, an artificial and active way to get your customers' email addresses, so that you actually do have a way to power your Facebook campaign here and have an email list to do it. One of which, by the way, is to say, we have a birthday offer. We give a free meal to, like if you're a restaurant, to people on their birthday. But in order to do that, we need your email address, and we'll email you the voucher or whatever. And so you have to give them, I recommend you give them something to get the email address. Why? Because it's kind of an a-hole move to ask them for that, even if they're buying something. Why am I giving you my email address? It's like the whole Radio Shack thing back in the day. Everybody used to absolutely despise Radio Shack because when you bought a pack of batteries, they asked for your mailing address, and people were pissed. If they would have said, we'll give you today this pack of batteries for 20% off if you give us your mailing address, people would have been way but much okay with it, and or just test to see how much they have to give. Ultimately, a customer who is on the mailing list versus one who's not, they know is worth so much more. So why did they not try to just take what they know that they're going to get more by having their address, and then giving them some discount on their purchase in order to get the mailing address and also get a more accurate mailing address? Because when you're asking people and forcing them to give you that just to buy, they weren't asking, they were like, you have to give it to us, you're going to get wrong information. If they actively want what you offer, then the data quality is good. So you can do that. You could also say customer appreciation. We're constantly sending out first emails for new releases when stuff comes in stock, to our most favorite customers. And I'll get you on that email list for VIP customers that have this if you give me the email address. You can offer priority placement in the restaurant if they were able to give you the email address, so you can send them the basically proof that was offered to you, and so that later on when they come and they want to take you up on that preferred seating placement, you have something on your phone that you could show them and say, see, I'm supposed to get this, or whatever, if you get my point. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, to actually get the information without pissing your customers off or alienate them. But anyway, in the spa business, we had a spa that had a bunch of different locations, but would not fail. We would get at least $200,000 in sales Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, with a list size of 23,000 names. So obviously the bigger also value per customer and average ticket size of what you're selling, the bigger the sales are going to be from this. But that was the kind of lift that we got with this exact offer in that exact market. Moving forward, we did this also in the floral business, which you can see there's kind of a rhyme to these type of businesses. But again, this could work for online only businesses, as well as stuff that's not just kind of local, service stuff. It only costs you $50 to run an ad and see if it works for your market, and the upside is millions, really, literally, long term, literally. So why not give it a shot? You'd be surprised what it works in. It doesn't. I just put these are the most successful examples. Floral business, though, during the same time frames, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, actually not Christmas. So when I crossed that one out, this case, they had a list of 13,000 email addresses / phone numbers, and we were getting over 450K in sales from that. That was more intense, so more sales on a smaller list. Part of that is, though, because the sales that you get in that business are so highly focused during those times that it was even more or super relevant to the user when they saw the ad, 2 weeks before Valentine's Day, that it just had an even more explosive result or response rate than we would have got then with the spa business, where they like to buy a gift card in that business around those times. It's just, of course, not the time where the sales don't peak during those times of the year nearly as much as in the floral business. In the floral business, you almost live and die by Valentine's Day, and the ability to get a lot of sales 2 weeks before and leading up to Valentine's Day. This is one way to, really, really, get out in front of that, particularly. Also, I will say, before your competition has a chance to sell to them. If normally people don't normally buy the flowers until 10 days before, and you have this going 14 days before, you get them before anybody else. And it's actually the same concept if you think about it for Black Friday. Why did Black Friday come up? Because they know that most people are going to spend all their Christmas budget for presents before Christmas, and so you have to get the money before they spend it. Well, then people would start marketing sooner and sooner, to the point where basically they're all the way marketing in November. And so this is also the same thing. If you market to people and lock them in before, you're going to end up with more sales for Valentine's Day in a business like the floral business. Anyway, moving forward, family restaurant. This works really well in the restaurant industry. Only from a list of 5,000 names, or right around there, we were able to generate $500,000 in gift vouchers for people at that restaurant. And so in that particular case, you obviously can't get email addresses nearly as good, whereas in the spa business, people can register online. In the floral business, you have the phone numbers or whatnot, because people in that business obviously are calling in a lot. And the family restaurant business, there's none of that, right? So you have to get creative. You have to build the list. They were building a list of the birthday offer for the free meal. So you have to give something to get, but again, it all comes down to math. Marketing is half, user psychology, half math. You got to find out something that will hit people in the gut enough to pay attention to you at a high enough rate to make money. But you also have to be able to be agnostic to the cost of things. Just figure out what a customer's worth that has seen the gift card offer versus not, and then subtract out a certain percentage to be able to get their email address in the first place as a part of the overall system and start making your money. So if you're in the restaurant space, you absolutely need to be using this, because it's hard enough to think of advertising to get customers beyond, and you should doing this too, by the way. If somebody's searching for, Italian restaurants in Chicago, you need to be getting those people then, as well as people looking for other Italian restaurants, having your ad show up for people then, or people who've been to their site using using a custom intent audience. You can actually list all the URLs and names of the competitors that are in your market, and then have banner ads show up for only them, which is possible. You can see some of my other videos about custom intent audiences to know how to do that in specific. But respectively, beyond those things, you got to be able to get more from a customer, because a lot of it just comes down to there's not a lot of effective things you can do to get them in per se. At least, you incentivize people to come into your restaurant. It's not going to get the type of person that normally comes 100 times. That kind of almost has to be done through word of mouth. But when you get them, so in other words, you're relying more, if you want to really make your sales explode, how do I get more from the customers that are naturally inclined to buy from us a lot, to get them to buy even more in that business. So anyway, see what can happen there. The last example here this works really well if you have a golf course, public or private, or country club basically, that you get the contact information of the members there. And one thing with that is if you're a member at a golf club, if you didn't know, you can't golf there unless you're a member already for a private golf course. Well, you could come with a friend. As long as you're with the member, most places will let you golf. So it's a unique business in that it's uniquely set up that if you offer a member a gift card, it's a great way to say, hey, I want you to come golfing with me. It's even though that seems kind of weird, like you have to use it with me, a lot of people think that way. Same thing in the spa space, actually, also in the spa space. But with just a tiny list of 3,000 or so names in for that particular golf course, we had a 1.2, I shouldn't say K, 1.2 million. So we only run this once a year for Christmas time. Okay. In the restaurant space, by the way, it was Mother's Day, Valentine's, and Christmas. The floral business is just Mother's Day and Valentine's Day, but for the golf course, just Christmas time, really pounding for 6 weeks before, which is in this case, it's not 7 to 10 days like the rest of these examples I gave you, which is your typical before the holiday. Why? Because it builds the maximum amount of excitedness and urgency and, oh, I got to do this now or otherwise I'm going to forget about it. Because if you do 30 days for like a restaurant, they'll think, oh, I'll get to that later, and then they forget. Whereas if it's 7 days, they're like, I got to do it now, at least more frequently than they would otherwise. And procrastination in PPC in general is the killer. The more you can prevent procrastination, the more you're going to be able to make from your ads, from the same opportunities. The golf course, like I said, it was a longer time frame, 5 to 6 weeks in there. We run that, and now obviously when we do this, once you got it working even once, every year you could just repeat the same thing. People won't remember. Eventually they'll catch on, like every year they offer this, but who cares? Then you're training them to want to buy a gift card every year, so even better anyway. So anyway, basically to all their members, buy a free, golf $60 gift card for all the people there, give them a discount on the gift card, so it gives them a reason. I wasn't, it's a cool idea, but because you're going to give me an extra 10% off, yeah, I'll do it right now. And I won't wait, and I won't and think that I'm going to get to it later and won't because I forget or I spend my money on something else, whatever. Again goes back to you're eliminating any procrastination, which means they're just going to buy in total more frequently than from you otherwise, leaving them to their own devices to buy a gift voucher from you, forcing people basically and prompting them to make a mental decision, yes or no, in front of their face as they're on Facebook. 1.2 million plus sales every year from doing that. So massive. If you're a golf course, you should definitely look into that. And it's a great gift idea. I'm a golfer. I would, if I could get on a new course that I need to be a member, and so, I would absolutely love that. So anyway, I'm getting off track here. That sums everything up. If you like the video, I have a ton of other PPC money-making strategy videos on this channel. You should definitely check out my other videos if you want to make a ton of money at PPC. I have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns just like I gave you here, to be able to know more so step-by-step what to do instead of the overview that I gave you. If you want to know how to run campaigns that are basically guaranteed to work, in which I use personally for our clients here, and how to do those, you can go there. If you have any questions about this strategy you think I should have covered and didn't or whatnot, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel within a day or two time. And with all that said, I hope to see you at least on my next video where I'll have another great money-making opportunity and PPC strategy using PPC and thereof for you to also review as well. See you then.